Hey family, welcome to the Love You More show. And do me a favor, hit that little notification bell, okay? Make sure that you click that on to make sure that you never miss an episode. And of course, make sure throughout the show you like, share, and you comment. I do hope you enjoy this show, and I'm looking forward to it. It's coming up next, flat out.
Next on the Love You More show.
Everybody kind of look to you guys in the community as kind of like this beacon of hope of relationship. Got this beautiful family, it's picture perfect. Both of y'all tall, strong, good looking, you know what I mean? And but now you guys are in a very unique space because now you're divorced.
I went on Entertainment Tonight and I said, the craziest thing is nobody comes to anybody else's job and tell them how much they hate them, how much they don't like them, how much they suck. We go into situations where people will stand toe to toe, look you in the eye and say, your husband suck, your daddy suck, he a loser, he's the worst, he's trash.
Like, is that the price you pay for the type of lifestyle that's created because of the job? Why would you work so hard to give the outside world this version that you believe
because the
is
outside world is the judge and you're not.
No. But can I enjoy what you attempt to give? Love you more. Family, listen, it's your nephew, Willie Moore Jr., and welcome to the Love You More show. What an amazing opportunity for you to learn how to love yourself more. Family, I'm going to be really, really honest with you. Today is a huge day. We get an opportunity to hang out one of the most authentic women, in my opinion, that has ever touched the ministry mic. She's an entrepreneur. She's doing a lot of great things across the country. But before I give you the opportunity to really connect with her, I want to challenge you to do two things. Number one, subscribe to this channel. Okay, let's get that out the way. Everywhere I go and everywhere I be is people I'm sorry, I had an ADD moment. But no, everywhere I go, people are like telling me like, man, I really enjoy the show. I really think it's the new thing. I appreciate what you're giving. But I want to make sure that our subscribers reflect, right, what we offer. And I want you to be able to share. Right now, I'm doing a whole lot of work pushing the product, doing a lot. But I know with your help, we can expand this brand. And I thank God that we're, kind of creating conversations that are actually meaningful. A lot of time in the kingdom community, it's kind of, nobody wants to drop the fourth wall, but right here we're keeping it 100 in hopes that we give you an opportunity to love you more. So as we take a deep dive on what this show is becoming, we've drilled it down and it may change just a little bit. This show is actually designed for people who have been through misunderstandings, breakups, and divorce, right? And how do you go from the hurt, the hangups, and the habits that come with dealing with misunderstandings, breakups, and divorce? What I want to do is curate conversations with people who either have been through all three or people whose parents have been through it, because we know that this is a lot more common than we choose to talk about, especially in the body of Christ. This young lady has never talked about what she's gone through. And I'm so thankful that she's chosen to trust us with some of her most sacred information, as the world has never heard her story in this capacity. Today, we're hanging out with a philanthropist, a serial entrepreneur, a woman who really loves God, but she ain't no punk. The one and only Shenita Foster is hanging out with your nephew. What's going on, pretty lady?
I'm nervous.
You ain't got to be nervous. We outside,
No,
boo.
no. I'm nervous.
Why?
You're
I've never seen you nervous.
No. When you're the first, when something's the first, you're always nervous. You should be nervous.
Yeah.
You're the first.
Yeah. Well, listen, I do appreciate you coming, hanging out. Let me start by saying you look amazing.
Thank you.
Come on. Yes, Lord. Me and her, we got our hats on. I appreciate you wearing your hat.
I'm ready.
Yeah. So let's just get this out the way real quick, because, a lot of people want to know a lot about you. But the way we do it here on the show, our icebreaker is music. So the Love You More show is actually an extension of the Love You More series, which is a loose deep dive on a divorce process, a breakup process, and a misunderstanding process. Because as you know, in relationships, you go through all three. Hopefully, we help more people not get to the third and second stage. We pray that many people get that misunderstanding correctly. In this particular scene, I come home from a job that's filled with temptation. Talking about ladies everywhere. it's like when there's problems in paradise, KD, I know you can attest to it. When it's a problems in paradise, it seems like women can smell that it's problems in paradise. They be like, oh, something wrong over there. You hungry. you need something. You need some food. And I'm just like, you can smell it on me? Is it like cologne? Is it an aroma? Right? And so I'm coming home, and lo and behold, whenever something is going wrong at work, sometimes as a man and even a woman, when you're being tempted outside of the house, when you come home, you may be met with attitude. And that's exactly what I came home to in this part of the series. Check this out.
Why are we waiting for the sun to go down? We both want it, so let's get it started right now. Time's of the essence, and I don't want to waste mine. We should get together and make love in the daytime. I know you get tired of the same old same. Wait until the night come to do your thing. I've got a proposition for you ladies today. I wanna make love in the middle of the day. Say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. You used to knocking boots, how about I knock you out your socks? Make you feel like a queen when we in between them sheets, and keep you energized like some Xantrax 3, baby. Why are we waiting for the sun to go down? We both want it, so let's get it started right now. Time's of the essence, and I don't wanna waste mine. We should get together and make love in the daytime. 'Cause in the daytime, sunshine on the girl. And in the daytime,
In the scene, love in the daytime, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's a good idea to make love in the daytime. Oh, just me. Oh, howdy, KG. Just me. Oh, turn it off. Don't go to that. Keep it up. No, I'm just joking. But I'm serious. Keep it just me. No, anyway. Okay, so the scene is, there is a seemingly disconnect in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You were married to a very, very prominent football player who was drafted in 2003, Macon, Georgia, and, everybody kind of looked to you guys in the community as kind of like this beacon of hope of relationship. Got this beautiful family, it's picture perfect. Both of y'all tall, strong, good looking, you know what I mean? And, but now you guys are in a very unique space because now you're divorced. You haven't shared that with anybody. Talk about that process and what was the disconnect in this relationship?
The reason why I didn't tell, or the disconnect first?
Let's go with the disconnect, and I can almost imagine going through that process why you didn't tell.
I think for me, okay, so let me say this the whole interview. I'm going to speak from my perspective.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people try to say what the other person was thinking or what the other person was feeling. And even when I wrote in my book, I feel like his story is his story to tell. His version, his way, what he felt, what he thought. For me, the disconnect really came when it came to purpose. When it came to purpose and peace, I realized too late that we weren't purposely aligned. Like once I 1000% knew why God put me on this earth, why I have to fulfill this thing, and you're with somebody who can't see it, can't understand it, doesn't want to invest in it or support it, that's a hard place to be. So that was one part of the disconnect. We both suffered depression at the highest level, almost simultaneously, but 2 different times. I think most people don't understand that when athletes go through this transition, it is one of the hardest things I have.
And he played for the Broncos.
Broncos, Lions, Browns, Saints, Colts.
I'm sure that took a toll, like having to move and do all of that. Like, what was that like for you? Like, I really want to take a deep dive because I've never really had the privilege to speak. A lot of my guys play for the NFL, but what I look like sitting down with their wife, it's just never happened. But like, what was it like for Shenita, the wife, having to always transition to these different spaces and re-meet team members, new family members, all of that? What was it like?
The craziest thing is the first time I ever went through a trade. Like the first time, I just remember like we were at home, everything was cool. My firstborn biological was a baby. I had a baby, and we in Denver or whatever. And his phone rang, and he's not one of the people that answer the phone or jump for the phone. Mm-hmm. And he kind of ignored his phone for a while. That's just not his thing. And I remember one of my friends called. It was like, "Congratulations on the trade." I'm like, "What trade?" She was like, "George, he got traded to the Lions." Yeah. I was like, "Hey, you got traded to the Lions?" He like, "No, Phil didn't call me. That's his agent." Went to look at his phone. He had a bunch of missed calls. We were traded. I think what most people don't understand is depending on the timing of the trade, you have to report in a certain amount of time.
Like how much time is it?
I don't know, but he needed to be there like quick, like cat quick. I don't want to over-exaggerate, but it was like right now. Okay. And I just remember for the first time in my life, I had 2 Allied trucks outside the front of my house. Like, we got to go. Like, pack this stuff up right now. By the way, I'll never let somebody else pack up my house ever again in life. It was the most horrible experience ever. Like, you just be looking for stuff for the rest of your life. But I'm telling you, like, they was just like throwing the drawers in the boxes, not labeling them. You know, it was like, it was a frenzy for me. I'm a structured person. I just remember, you know, and the gift and the curse of it all. We got traded to my home state, Detroit.
Yeah, you're from Detroit.
So I got to go back home. You would think, okay, you're excited. You get to go back home. But that was different because I'm going back a different person. I'm going back with a different bank account. I'm going back with a different status. And so I didn't know what that was going to look or feel like. I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to go home and this is going to be great. You know, and so you get there and now you got all these family members, you know, they just think it's a unlimited bank account frenzy. You know, you get free tickets to every game. And then to top it off, I'm going to say this part because it's Googleable. They went 0-16.
Jeez.
They lost every game.
So how do you support a man who's losing in his career?
How do you stop people from busting out your car windows?
Oh, wow.
Like it was real. Like, I remember it was so bad. Like, I had told like the kids at the daycare, like, oh my gosh, every time the Lions win, I'm going to buy pizza for the whole school. Man, the kids hated me. I was just like, let me just buy the pizza because it's not looking good. It was hard. And I think, you know, I did an interview one time for Entertainment Tonight because Giselle spazzed out like after a game. Like she was leaving out the game and this fan went crazy and they knew who to call. They called me and they said, can you explain what this feels like? And I went on Entertainment Tonight and I said, the craziest thing is nobody comes to anybody else's job and tell them how much they hate them, how much they don't like them, how much they suck, how much they the worst. And I said, we go into situations where people will stand toe to toe, look you in the eye and say, your husband suck, your daddy suck, he a loser, he's the worst, he's trash. And so you have to take all of that. And she lost it. And I was like, I remember the first time I was pregnant, second time I was pregnant, I was at a game and like for 2 quarters straight, this guy just kept screaming at me the whole time. Foster, you're fat. Your wife is so fat. Your wife is fat and ugly. She's so ugly. She's so fat to the point I couldn't take it. And I remember I grabbed my mom's arm because I was pregnant, so I needed her for balance. And I stood on the chair, turned and faced the crowd. I'm going to improvise. And I said, I'm fat because I'm mother effing pregnant. The whole section was silent for the rest of the game.
Jeez.
Like, imagine I'm pregnant. I'm here supporting my husband, my kid's father. I'm with my family. Y'all telling me I'm fat and ugly for 40 minutes. Like, how much am I supposed to take? So I just think the transition of that, not having real friends, I would meet people.
So can we just go right there? Like, so who's there to support Shenita during that time? Because that's a lot to take, a lot of pressure. Were you always a person in the public eye or was this lifestyle new to you?
I wasn't always a person the public eye, but most people don't know. I worked for athletes for 16 years. Prior to him. So I had been in the environment, you know, shout out to all the athletes that I worked for. And I worked for some great athletes. So I was accustomed to the environment, but I wasn't used to living the environment. I mean, I was around for some crazy moments, you know. Ron Artest was one of my clients, by the way. Shout out to Ron Artest, Steven Jackson. So I done been through some things with some players, but it was always them.
Yeah,
it wasn't
you.
me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was hard. Like, I love people. I remember I was at all the wives got together one time to watch a game or whatever. And me, I'm never vested into the game. People be like, who your favorite team? I'd be like, whoever paying. I don't know.
Like, whoever paying. Like, the team that's paying.
Whoever pays. Somebody said, what's your favorite team? I said, whoever giving the check. And at the time, I'm not a fan of football. And I just remember we were all together as wives. And for some reason, this was like right when George switched positions, I think from left to right or something. Make a long story short, they took her husband out and put him in the game. She like lost it. And I didn't understand it at first. And I went over to talk to her. I was like, what's going on? She's like, don't talk to me. I said, whoa, what's wrong? They took my husband out the game to put your husband in. I'm like, ma'am, we not on the field. We here. We watching TV. Yeah. And it was personal. Like, it was so many things that I had to learn and adjust to throughout that time that I think people really don't realize, especially when you're a people person, you love people.
So do you think, as you look back with this NFL guy, because although you're a product of the target that they're shooting at, they're really shooting at George, and you just a bystander just kind of in the middle. You're an easy target because they can't get on the field, and the plus, he could probably choke them out at this point. Like, do you think you had the tools enough to really support his mental state that he was going through during that particular time? And if so, good. But if not, do you think he still holds some type of resentment for that?
I think that I don't believe he holds resentment against me. I think during the process of our divorce, we both learned a lot about our own personal traumas, things that we haven't healed from, things that I didn't know. Nobody has a handbook really on how to be a wife, especially an athlete's wife. There's no sound handbook. Did I have some good examples? Yeah, like Karen Ekubon is literally on my wheel. So if something happened to me, not my mama, not my sister, this is an NFL wife that I met that really understood and structured so many things in so many ways. And so I gained some examples, but it just wasn't enough. At times, you don't know how to support a person that doesn't talk. People think these are myths. I remember one time, and they can debate me to the day I die. It was a whole meeting called with a group of wives, and they called us all in, and they had all these people, and I'm thinking we're just going to talk about something light and fluffy, and the lady was a counselor, and this lady sat and told us out loud, don't ask our husbands no questions until Tuesday. Like, basically, the off day is on Tuesday. You don't have no problems in your house until Tuesday. Don't talk to him. Don't act like, how we in a marriage? So you don't want me to act like, if I got a real problem, you saying hold my problem in.
Until Tuesday.
Like, let him be an athlete. No concerns, no what's going on, no sick kids. And the sad thing is I became the epitome of that. And I feel like I kind of handicapped him because he didn't
know what was going on.
Never. Because it was handled, always. And I allowed him to be the best that he could be at the detriment of myself, my children, my family, because I took it all. He never knew if something happened, he wouldn't know. Like, I had to tell my daughter a story. She stopped going to the away game.
Shout out Jordan. Love Jordan. That's my homie. Let's get that out the way.
Okay, Jordan went to an away game with me. I think it was the Washington Redskins. I want to say Redskins or 49ers. I just remember the jersey was red. And there was a guy in front of me, and he was screaming and yelling the whole time and talking in my face. And I had my baby on my lap. Like, Jordan sitting on my lap, and he going crazy. And a play happened, and he turned around and yelled at me. And he was drunk and fell on top of me. And Jordan hit the front of the seat. When I picked my baby up and turned her around, it was blood running down her face. Man, it took about 5 police officers, players running out to stands to jump in. Like, I would not let this man go. Like, he was going to die. Finally get me apart, her apart, paramedics, everything. Game over. After the game, we waiting. George come out. He like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? I said, you didn't see me fighting in the stands? That man said, girl, I was playing football.
More Love You More podcast after this.
All relationships start off beautiful. The love is so intense in the beginning, until life happens. No matter how disciplined you are, temptation is everywhere. And we all have to fight with our internal monsters. And sometimes we fall into the trap and we hurt the ones we say we love the most. As you get older, loved ones pass away and you're left to live life with a void that you never really anticipated. For some reason, people never talk about the parts of you that die when your loved one leaves the earth. It's so easy to lose who you are in the midst of all of this. I lost myself because I forgot to love myself. I'd like to take you on a journey in hopes that you can learn how to love you more.
Wow. To check out the first episode, log on to loveyoumore.com.
I said, you didn't see me fighting in the stands? That man said, girl, I was playing football. I said, so you didn't see the other people like take off and running? There's no ruckus like it did. He's like, girl, I was playing football. He's like, where my baby at? Then I had to break down the whole story of that's how much he was allowed to be him, the best of the best.
So is that his fault? Or is that like, something that was kind of given? Like, I think that service was good, but I'm sure it took a toll on you. If you had the opportunity to do it differently, or what would you say to all of these different, because let me tell you this, on the outside, we just like, yo, he's in the NFL, everything's good, because monetarily it just looks great. But on the backside, hearing this type of information, nobody never necessarily understands the pressure that you go through. So if you could do it all over, because, of course we got to shift gears. If you could do it all over, is that the approach that you would have taken, or would you make him aware of a lot more?
No.
Okay.
Everything would have been different. There would have been strong marriage counseling.
Gotta have that. Gotta do that.
Gotta do that. Like 1,000%. Not start, stop, quit. I don't need it. That's number one. Therapy. I would never go into another relationship, be married. Like, people have to heal. Like, we asking the wrong questions when we dating people. Stop asking people what their credit score is, okay?
Yeah,
stop trying to figure, how much money you make for a living. Like, what's your childhood traumas?
Yeah.
Where your mama at? Where your daddy at?
Yeah.
Did they stay together? How is your relationship with, like, those things were missed. And that's another story for a whole nother day when we talk about in-law outlaws. Let me tell you something.
In-law outlaw. How were you raised, though? Were you raised with mother and father?
Sort of. My mother remarried. So I had a stable enough household where I had examples of what I wanted to be and what I didn't want to be. And being married forever was the example that I really wanted to go after. But the therapy, the marriage counseling, the date night, like, I would never take that away. I would find a way to put my relationship first. There are so many other things that came before our actual marriage and relationship. First, it was football. And then when I went into my transition, me growing into the person that I was superseded everything.
Right.
So that was important. So yeah, there's a lot of things I would do differently.
So you grew up with mom and she remarried. Where was biological dad in that equation?
Ooh, my biological father, my biological siblings will get upset with this, is an addict. Still is to this day, I believe. I just spoke to the man about 2-3 weeks ago. You couldn't convince me that this man is not on drugs. But hey, that's debatable to who you talk to, but that's who my biological father is. My father that raised me, I just made a birthday post about him. He turned 75. So we went to his 75th birthday. And I just remember the day that I broke his heart. I remember I went back to Michigan and I was like, hey, let's go find Earl. They call him Pee Wee, right? And so whenever I would want to go find him, because I've had bats in my life where I'm like, I want to go find him. I want to see him. I want to touch him. I want to feel him. And I said this to my dad. This is my dad who raised me, who taught me everything I know, the strength, how to fight. This is my dad. And I said that to him, not realizing the impact. And I just remember he was driving me around, kept hopping out in the hood. Y'all seen Pee Wee? And it's so funny. Every time I do this, every time I hop out and say, y'all see, they be like, you the police. I be like, I'm not the police. Like, every single time. It's like a running joke. You the police. And they're like, you the police. And so I would hop in and out. And finally, I would always find somebody say, go down the street, tell this person, tell that person. I found him. And, when I found him, I remember jumping out the car. I looked at my dad. I said, you getting out the car? He's like, no, I'm good. So I jumped out the car. Went and had a conversation with people. It just always end up bad. We always end up arguing. Some way, some. I'm like, sir, what do you mean? Like, you're just annoying. Like, even when George came to the Lions, he was so excited. He went to go find my biological father and was like, look, it's her birthday. I'm going to come back on this day. I'm going to get you a shower. I'm going to buy you a suit. I'm going to get you some shoes. I'm going to get you a haircut. He had a surprise birthday party for me, and that man broke his heart. He didn't show up. Couldn't find him that day on my birthday. And so I had this conversation with my biological dad, and I remember I got in the car with my dad, and he took me back to the hotel because I was speaking in Detroit, and we stood in front of the car, and I have the picture. I remember we took the picture, and he said, this is the only time I'm going to say this to you. Number one, don't ever ask me to go with you to look for this man again. But here's the bigger story. Stop looking for what don't want you, what you don't need, and what you already have. And that changed my life. I was like, I don't need that, man. I'm cool. I'm good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm glad you shared that because, there's so many people out there looking for something and they see my story because I was adopted. I never met anybody in my biological family until 2020. And, it's polar opposite. Now, when I seen my mama, and she know it, mama, I told you this. When I seen her address, I was like, ooh, my mama finna be on drugs. And like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, she on drugs. I was a baby who was, you know what I'm saying? But, it ended up, she just owned some real estate and it was just a specific area. And that used to be a good area when she bought the real estate. And we ended up having this very beautiful Cinderella story. Oh. But then there's also stories where, people do have habits and people, it's just not a beautiful story, but still created a beautiful person. And I do appreciate that. I want to kind of transition just a little bit now that I kind of understand who you are, backstory, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you for sharing and thank you for feeling safe enough to share, So now you get in the marriage, you've seen a healthy relationship with mom and dad. You still have this little picture in the back of your head of what Earl Pee Wee looked like. And then you have this woman who has a strong personality who's now hiding things from her George because the NFL tells her, keep everything away from him and just keep it all in a column of Tuesday. And you're going throughout and now you have children. Is everybody on one accord on what they're supposed to keep away from dad? Or are you just carrying all of this on your shoulders for all of these years?
I just still think again, maybe he'll see it different. I just remember when I had Jada, like he came to the hospital, they had practice. It was like, push the baby out, go on. She was born during training camp. He was out of there. Like it wasn't like, oh, you're not going to stay with me. Oh, you don't want to hold your new baby. Oh, like I don't know. Like my daughter Jada, until she was of a significant age and he was retired from football, never had her dad on her birthday. She's a training camp baby. It's almost like impossible. You know what I mean? Depending on what city and what team, yeah, maybe it was kind of like a flyby. But I'm talking about actual birthday. Not that it matters, but I'm just saying there's certain things that I just feel like he didn't have to do and I made it okay.
Is that the price of the job though? Like, is that the price you pay for the type of lifestyle that's created because of the job? Because I know it's like this, it's this really weird, tough tug of war because it's like, well, in order for us to, I know how men think because I'm a man's man. I believe if God made anything better than a woman, he kept it for himself. You hear me? But I know how we think. Like if we're creating this lifestyle that is so much better than anything that we have ever seen. I remember talking to my former wife and I just said, it was so much like, well, you can't come to this and you can't come to that. I finally said, let's just, who in our family live like the way we live?
And let me tell you something. If you find, no tears, if you find the right person and the right love, all that wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
It's time.
So it's other things that could have been done on the back end.
Yeah, you would trade in all the money for your person. You would trade in
that's what she said.
All the love for your person. You would trade in all the them showing up at certain moments that are pivoted and important. People tend to think I'm joking when I say everybody is not money led. Everybody is not money driven. And people say, oh, if you say that, that's a lie. You know, that's not true.
Can you get some tissue for me?
I use this story. I was talking to somebody, and I remember I only had this one aunt in my family that my mom used to leave me with, and she took public transportation. It was the only time in my life I got to take the city bus. Mm-hmm. And I remember that I used to stand at the bus stop with her, and I would see couples, and they would be in matching clothes. They would be happy and stuff, and I'd be like, oh my gosh. How they happy and they broke? I ain't gonna lie. I thought that as a kid. I was like, yo, y'all taking the bus. What y'all smiling and holding hands for? Yeah. Why are y'all happy? As an adult, I get it. The love that they have for each other supersede everything. They didn't care about not having a car. They didn't care about not having the best. They were seeking love. And so, yeah, you can get in that argument to say it's a sacrifice. But I know many people like myself that would say, do you want your man or you want the check? No. It's because of people who haven't experienced that kind of love or respect or admiration for a person that they would say out loud, oh, I need the money to go with it. No, you're looking for love. And when you felt it and when you know it. And I thank God I have been loved different in my life. I have had the kind of love, I got a tattoo on my back. I have the kind of love that it says to die for. I've had the type of love that I know is like once in a lifetime. Being one of them, my best friend that died. My best friend was my first love, first person I dated from when I was 14 years old. And it's in my book. When somebody loves you that way, when you know what unconditional, undeniable love is, nothing can ever supersede that. I happen to marry an athlete, but I married the person I love. I married the person that I chose. So no, that I didn't care about the football stuff first. You get what I'm saying?
But he did.
What?
You know, he did. Like, and I
think I'm gonna speak for him. I think he cared about providing for his family.
Yeah, like when we come from extreme poverty, and that's the thing that I always had to explain. Not that I didn't have food, mom and dad, you know, I would never say y'all didn't provide for me, but we lived in the hoods. Berkeley, Missouri, median income $17,000. I wanted to do something so different for my mom and my dad that was my top priority, and everything else came in second, and everything was neglected because I was so focused on what I believed I was supposed to have. And it's like, you know, and I'm not making an excuse for George, but I just know when you get in these prominent positions, the main issue is that you really don't love yourself. You just love your talent.
Yeah.
And we think everything is predicated on the talent that we have versus the power that Jesus gives us. And it's like, no, I can do more in your less than I've ever done in you trying to toil and do for it. And so we'll neglect everything. And I'm guilty. I'm not saying like, I'm just saying a guy who comes from, it's like you hang your hat on the fact that you can keep the lights on. And if you swipe that credit card, baby girl, it's going to go through.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, all that American Express going to be taken care of, especially if you first generation money, like you don't necessarily know. So it's like what the enemy chooses to do is you looking at him like you didn't get a chance to see your daughter get born. It's like I popped in. That was a stretch. I was supposed to be there at 3. I got there at 5. Everybody looked at me when I walked in, and they'll hang their hat on the fact that it's this, that, and other. And you over here like, but you're supposed to, and it's like expectations are being met. But I do want to ask you this. When did you know that this was the wrong relationship to be in? And once you give that time, how much longer did you stay? Ooh, hate to stop you, change the scenery and the energy, but you ain't been obedient. You know how I know? Because you ain't subscribed. You ain't left no comment. You ain't shared this with nobody. Do it right now. Now back to the show. Now, do it. Good. Back to the show. Flat out. When did you know that this was the wrong relationship to be in? And once you give that time, how much longer did you stay?
I knew it wasn't the relationship to be in when he didn't see my pain.
And then how long did you stay after that?
Oh, we stayed for a long time. I think we were agreeable in the fact that our kids are the way we love our kids. I definitely birthed kids with the right person. Nobody can outfather him. I don't care what nobody says. I don't have nothing bad to say ever in this life about the father that man is to his kids. And I I know for both of us, we made huge sacrifices because we wanted our kids to be happy. We wanted our kids to never feel the hurt or the pain that we went through, even if that meant us not being happy or doing, certain things a certain way. I mean, even to this day, my Jordan sitting here, she had an attitude. The coach said something. I was like, that's my ex-husband. She's like, why are you saying that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they pride themselves in parents that still love each other, that respect each other. We still do everything for our kids together. And so I just knew I had a suicide attempt.
I want to talk about
I
that.
went through horrible depression. I went through a transition of probably being at the lowest of my life. And I realized if a person can't even see that, like you can't be my person. You can't see me. I have a best friend. I don't sleep with my best friend. I don't have nothing to say. My best friend know by the tone of my voice, by the message in the text, by if she show up, the way I'm dressed. Like, what's wrong with you? You can't be in a whole relationship married to somebody. I can't see that. And I remember he made a statement where I was fussing about something because we never really fought. That's another thing. I pride myself in front of my kids. I might even ask them today. I don't think they ever seen us fight, but like twice in their whole life. Mind you, it was because of another kid the 2 times I'm remembering. That's another story for another day. But
wait a minute, you said another kid?
No, I'm saying because of one of our kids. We were fighting about something that a kid did, not us fighting about something. Fighting over that, about that. And I pride myself in that. And so I just remember it was a disagreement, not a fight. I don't use the word fight. And he said something, it was like put the stake in the coffin, like nailed it down for me. He said, it wasn't my responsibility to save you. Like out loud. He was like, it wasn't my responsibility to save you. It wasn't my responsibility to fix you.
Why was that the stake though? Like that's a true, strong statement. That's a true, strong statement. It wasn't his responsibility to save you.
Okay, watch this. I'm hurting. I'm married to you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you didn't see the hurt, but then once you know the hurt. Okay,
it may have
maybe
been
not.
wrong timing.
No, forget the timing.
Yeah.
If we in this together, let's flip it. You come to me, you say I'm depressed, I'm hurt, I'm broken. You just went through the adoption story. I got to go through this journey. I got to find my mama, my daddy. I don't know this. I'm not going to say that's not my responsibility. I'm not going to say that's not my responsibility. You're not hurting. I'm going to find a way to be a part of your healing process. How can I help you? How can I serve you? How can I make this better for you? How can I make you not feel what you feeling the best way I can? Not let me take my hands off. I can't help you. You just gonna let me crash? You're not gonna help at all.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because when he had his turn, everybody that knows me in my personal circle know I wasn't gonna let the car's not gonna crash.
Oh yeah, that's your character.
I'm not.
That's anybody.
I'm not. I'm going to get it.
That's your character. That's what
I'm going to get it. Okay, no problem. You can't figure it out. You're going through it. This is a rough transition. I didn't say I can't be a part. Most people don't know. Most athletes go through some kind of depression. They deal with it a couple ways. One of them, they go blow all their money. They blow their money because they're trying to make themselves feel like I'm still that guy. I'm still that person, right? Because the best way I explain to people is imagine from the time you between 4 to 6 years old, 4, 6, 10 is normally when boys start playing sports. Imagine somebody screaming your name every single day. Go, Willie. You're the best. Yeah. You're the awesome, Willie. You're the greatest. And then one day, it just completely stops.
Yes. That's another level. I know that feeling.
See? So
I know that feeling.
When he went through his, it was my responsibility to make sure he had space to heal, to make sure my family didn't fall apart, to make sure financial, I went to go get it.
Oh, yeah, we know you do.
Like I was out.
So can I just ask you, I just want to ask you this, Shenita. Who else have you done this type of empathetic episode for?
No.
Just quickly.
No. I didn't even go to.
No, I'm saying like, was there anybody else in your family, a cousin, a sister, a brother that like, I just feel like you're the type of person, if I got an issue and I bring it to you, you're going to give me exactly what I need, and we ain't known each other that long. But you just seem like the type of person that's just like, you hurt? okay, let's fix it. Like I seen you go to, you're not even a studio girl, but when our friend lost his dad,
yeah,
like you there in the studio buying for everybody. My friend asked you, yeah, I seen you in the studio. You come there often? That girl looked at him and said, do I look like a person who hang out in the studio? Do I like a studio girl to you? I was like, yeah, pick the wrong words. But I think you have the tools of empathy to do that. Have you ever seen him do it besides his children, have empathy for anyone else? Or is that just a tool he never had?
I feel like it wasn't for me.
Does he do it with his children?
That. Oh, yeah. Like I said,
but anybody else outside of
top
them?
flight dad. To be honest,
just don't
now
believe he
that
had
you're
the
saying
tools.
that, he's took some major hits, some major losses. He's lost some people in his life. To be honest, I don't think so. Maybe that's something he has to deal with, but no, he's not a tear wiper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people can people can die, be hurt, and George can go, praise God, you know.
Man.
And he's just stiff. But here's the thing. If you know that's his character, like, you know, sometimes that being displayed, like, why would you expect anything else from a man who can look at somebody in the casket dead and just be like,
yeah, but guess what? That's when you make the decision. Am I willing to do this for the rest of my life? Am I willing? Life is too short. I'm all about peace and purpose. You know my saying, peace, purpose, paid. Right in that order.
That's what you say.
Yeah, like
peace, purpose, paid.
That is the order. And I wasn't willing to sacrifice. Some people can. I talked to somebody coming before I came here, and they were praying. They were like, I hope that as much as people hear you say leave, that they hear you say stay too. And I stopped and I said, that's a great statement. No, I don't want people to get a divorce. No, I don't want people to break up. But I also don't want people to live their life and miss out on their peace and their purpose because you stand committed or loyal to something that is not fulfilling you. That's not fair either, I don't think. You know, for me, I remember the day, the final breakup when it was it. I just remember I was going through some stuff. He was going through some stuff. And he didn't want to go back on it. Even after I went back and was like, okay, let's maybe go get some because I'm fighting. We both fighting. Like, okay, let's try to fix this. You know what I mean? Let's make this. We're not quitters. For me, that was my biggest thing. I'm not a quitter. I don't want to be embarrassed. I said that this is what I was going to do. I said it was forever. All those things that we say. So I was still like, okay, but I don't know what happened that day. I don't know what happened, but I remember the day. And he was in the kitchen and I went in the kitchen and I just started crying, like uncontrollably crying. I said, just let me go. I said, just let me go. I said, I deserve to be happy. I deserve peace. And it has nothing to do with me not loving you or not loving us or not loving this family, but let me go. And he cried and I cried. And that was the day. Like, I know, even though we stayed and it's a journey, you know, you just don't wake up and be like, hey, because we're not those kind of people. Like, we always said that. Nobody going to fight in court. I'm not about to have nobody tell me what to do with my kids, what not to do with my kids. I'm not that person. I was literally with the attorney. Shout out to Attorney Ferry. I'm like Tina Turner. Just give me my name. Like, it was nothing for me to go in there to fight for. Of course, legally, they have to say, okay, y'all were married, 17 years. There's some things that you have to do. But I went into it like, I want my peace. I want my purpose.
So
I want
you
my
filed
name.
for divorce?
I said, I want my name. I filed first, yeah. Like, and then I think I had to refile because so much time had passed. So much time had passed because I was hopeful. I was hopeful for healing. I was hopeful for growth. I was hopeful that we would figure it out. I was still believing in God and everything that he promised. And, pastors, and they would argue with me, pastors, prophet, everybody, God would never tell you to leave. I'm like, well, he's showing up giving me some great, strong examples. I don't know what y'all talking about, but the conversation
was just talking about
yeah,
that.
like they be like, God would never tell you that. I'm like, well, why he keep showing me this, and that? Yeah. Like, he's not showing me run back and it's gonna work, or my daughter, I got you. He's showing me like it's peace out here, it's happiness. There's there's purpose. You're doing a great job. So, yeah.
So after you go through all of this and you still working through it, you know, you're still out ministering to a group of ladies. Like, I mean, I met your brand through a ministry group out of St. Louis, Missouri, and she actually texted because I think you were on her show, and she was just like, "Have you ever heard of CHANITA FOSTER?" And so I was like, "Oh, she fine. Let's get that out the way." She look a little taller than my league, but I'm pretty, huh? Did you see? Pretty, no pretty. You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Oh, Lord." And so I got a chance to kind of listen to you, and it was raw, and it was edgy, and you're moving, and you're doing your thing in ministry, and it's working. And then then it starts to slow down a little bit. Did you ever like kind of think, you know, because sometimes the enemy plays on your mind, like, see what you did, and now look what's going on. Like, did you ever have that guilt type of feeling when you know deep on the inside you have made a decision, and now it seems like that well of ministry is starting to run dry?
I think yes and no. I think for me, when it came to ministry or social circles or truth, I think sometimes I'm just too truthful. I think sometimes people just aren't ready for the in your face. And so for me to pull back was like, man, I keep telling y'all the truth. It's like, y'all want to believe lies. And that's very hard for me because I'm a real authentic person. Like I find myself, I'd be like, dang, I'm always kicked out the friendship circle. But I feel like I'm that because I'm authentic. Like if I'm friends with Willie and Willie friends with Sarah, and we all supposed to be friends, but Sarah talking about Willie, I'm the person that'd be like, Willie, you know Sarah talking about you. No, for real. Yeah. Like I'm confused.
Hey, Sarah talking about you.
Yeah, Sarah talking about you. What we gonna do? And like people don't like the truth. They don't like living in real honesty. People don't like when you don't pick their side. I've had people say, well, you didn't pick my side. I choose the side of right. I don't care who it is. I made a post the other day. I said, I don't care what everybody else is saying. I'm going to stand with my chest out in whatever it is that I believe. And sometimes I'm not believing what everybody else is believing.
Yes, that Detroit.
And so I had to pull back because I just seen so much that I didn't agree with or I didn't like or I didn't believe. I don't think that part of it was my feeling guilty. I did feel like I see a lot of women not treat our Black men right. And they don't, like, for real. Like, watching that when you were saying, oh, when I came in, I thought, you know, you would have been on your knees and happy to greet. And I'm looking at her like she should have been, though. You get what I'm saying?
Amen.
Like, no matter.
Now we amen.
No, I'm saying
the
no
ladies
matter.
ain't amen. But I'm amen. Hey, Shabbat.
No, I'm saying
Do
like.
tell more, honey. You talking right.
I'm saying so many women like to talk about, well, how, you know, he makes me feel or what he's supposed to do to lead up to it. And I just remember I had went to marriage counseling. This was my first tattoo ever with a script. And I was going back and forth with the pastor and he gave me, it's on here, look at me. I thought I remembered it by her. Oh, it's 1 Peter. What is this one? 1 Peter 3:1-5. Likewise, wives be submissive to your husbands.
So you put that on you?
It's right here. Wives, be submissive to your husbands.
Y'all better go on and wife her. She following that scripture.
For they may not know the word or obey the word, they could be won by the actions of their wives.
Come on.
I always felt like as long as I'm the biggest, best version of me, he could be won by my actions. So I'm not predicting, dictating, or pushing his emotion, his actions from what he needs to do for me. As long as I wash, cook, and clean, as long as he comes home and his children are prepared or happy, as long as I'm his bigger cheerleader, at some point he can be won by the actions of
Friend,
his
is you dropping
wife.
it off though?
Huh?
Is you dropping it off to him too? Because you was like cooking, clean, and all the other stuff. But sometimes
cook, clean, and swing from the chandelier.
Come on, that's all I want to know. That's what the Lord said. Because some women will do all that and be like, no,
You're
I'm tired. I'm sleepy.
I don't think it's no and tired and sleepy and sick and all that kind of stuff.
None of that.
I just told somebody in a relationship that if you go too long in a marriage or a relationship without sex, you're disconnecting spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Yeah. Sex is used to really bring people back spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. So if you're already mad or you're already upset and you're doing this holdout thing and I don't want to give it to him, I don't want to give it to her, you're missing out on trying to reconnect back mentally, spiritually, and emotionally because TMI, But most time, if that thing right, one say, hey, you forgot what you was mad at. What we fighting about?
It'll make your memory go.
Yeah, you get memory loss real quick, right?
Yes, Lord.
I think,
yes, Lord.
I think that is important. And then I never forget, and I say this, and I want this bad in my next marriage, because I'm going to get married again. My friend, Brandy Jackson, I'll never forget, she said this. Shout out to Brandy Jackson. She married to Brandon Jackson, a running back. We was on the phone one day and she said, listen, she said, I don't care what I'm mad about in this life. If Brandon walk out the bathroom with a white towel on, I ain't even mad no more.
Come on, drop it off.
She said, I don't even care no more.
Hold on, just pause right there. I'm going to look right in this camera right here. Did you hear what the woman of God said? The woman of God said, if he come out, shout out to Miss Jackson. I love you, Miss Jackson. Cause you are for real. He said if he had that white towel on, she dropping it off.
So
let that in your shine on her.
It's a big part. It's being sexually compatible.
Come on.
In a relationship is important.
I like where we're going with this.
I don't like how the church people, groups, whatever, shy away from that being an importance in marriage.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize, when it come down to cheating or whatever the case may be. Another funny story. I'm a storyteller. It was a Nigerian post. There was a lady on there. She said, I found out my husband was cheating on me. She said, so I called a girl. I'm like, hey, stay away from my husband. Leave him alone. He's married. Don't call him no more. She going crazy right on the girl. Mm-hmm. Went to her husband. Not even like mad, but more so polite. Like, listen, I done talked to your side chick. I done talked to your girl. I told her to leave you alone. Why are you doing this? Why are you cheating on me? He said, because I can do with her what you not willing to do. She said, no problem. I'll do everything that you want me to do. The camera cut. She came back. She said, I want to tell everyone. I called her back and said, please, can you take your boyfriend back?
That's so real. I think sexual freedom is so important.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times women peg men wrong. Of course, I went into that whole spiel or what have you, but I know for some men, if we can be really candid and honest, if the emotional connection isn't there, like, I'm gonna be honest, there's some men it's just like, man, you hurt my heart too much. I know I'm the prize too, so I don't want to be a part of it too. Mm-hmm. So even like men who are holding out, sometimes I think, men also do the same thing. Like, hey man, I don't want to do it. And women like, oh, you a man. You're supposed to be a man. It's just like, no, you done said too many things in my heart. Has turned different. Like, the feminine energy that I would get from you, I discovered a new side of you that I'm not really interested in anymore. So women like, oh, we can talk all night and do all this other stuff and say some tough things. And then the man and then they're like, okay, well, let's just do it. It's like, right. No, I got this big old brick wall over my heart right now. And that brick wall don't translate blood-wise down here. So it's not going to happen.
And I have something else that I want to own my stuff on too, because I've gotten a lot of backlash. I would say if I could do something over again, I would make sure in my relationship, in my marriage, I married my best friend. Mm-hmm. I had too many opportunities where I had to keep so many guy best friends throughout my whole entire marriage. Mm-hmm. And I know that part was wrong.
Did you go too far with those relationships?
No, I just think that those relationships were probably closer than what they should have been for like a man and a woman or whatever the case may be, because some people would be like, that would never, but I still have like strong, like I'm close with, I'm cool with, but that's because they were giving me an open space to say how I feel. They were giving me an open space to communicate. They were giving me the space of, I believe in you and yeah, you can do that. And you awesome and you great and let's go or whatever the case may be. I think as women, we crave, like you said, being able to be authentic. And most women, it can't be that. You know what I mean? I heard one of my friends saying people thought it was a lie. She's like, oh, my husband never seen me without a wig on. And I was like, what? She was like, oh, you never, I got one for the shower, a workout wig. That's not a flex.
Oh, man, that's a good one. No, I'm just playing. She wanted to see his best. She don't want to put nothing in his eyes. I'm just playing. I'm just joking, ladies. You know I'm just joking.
No,
I'm just joking, I promise.
I'm saying as women,
girl, take your wig off and let that scalp breathe. Huh?
You lying.
Yes, Lord.
So
take that wig
if a woman, because I live for this. So when a woman walk in and she walk in the house the same way she take off her shoes, she took off her wig and put it, you cool?
I don't like the way that feels. Let's get that out the way.
That's that American thing.
Maybe we
if it was
can
an
come
African
in.
person, that'd be cool with it. That'd be helping you take the wig. Hey, take it off your shoes and your wig.
But listen, it's somebody for everybody. You know, this particular king requires you to do something a little different. Maybe you go in, go to your bathroom, take it off, and put it in, and then come back and do it. Don't surprise me like that. You know, when you come in, how you gonna give everybody all this beauty and then come in as soon as you see
watch
me,
this. I'm about to
let
eat
me
you
hang
up.
out with her.
Wait, I'm about to eat you up. Give everybody that beauty, so she not beauty without the wig.
Oh no, it's beautiful, but it's different levels to it.
But my beautiful
like,
should be the more authentic version.
Why would you work so hard to give the outside world this version that you believe
because the
is
outside
your
world is the judge and you're not.
No. But can I enjoy what you attempt to give?
No. Wait a minute.
Just ask me this.
You just answered your own.
No.
I'm dressed like. Let me tell you, if I could have came in here the way I wanted to come in here.
Listen, and I love her too.
I changed my shoes before I walked through the door. But you noticed the version. I ironed my shirt. I put a wig on.
Who is it for?
99% of the time, the people that know me, I don't even wear a wig. What are you talking about?
Though?
It's for the people.
Indeed, I'm the people too.
You the people too.
It's different layers.
No, but we're not dating. You just said if we was together.
If we were dating, I also want to be a part of the people as well.
No. If I'm dating you, I want you to want the authentic version of me. The no eyelashes, the no makeup on, the French braid, the set it off braids going to the back, all of that.
Do all of that. But if you decide to do this today, I also want to enjoy it like everybody else. It's not that it's a better or worse.
Why do you think everybody else is enjoying
version? No, it's not a better or worse version. But if you sit in that mirror and you put your makeup on and you get this wig and you put this hat on and you put this YSL on for the world, I'm like, oh, babe, number one, I'm going to compliment you when you leave. Like, girl, you doing something. And I'm going to give you a little jab. Girl, who you doing all this for? It must be some niggas in there. And I'm going to laugh and we're going to joke. And I'm like, baby, you killing them. I appreciate the way you look. Go do well. Go on about your business. But when you come home, I'm going to be like, sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, you can take that off if you choose. But sometimes I'll be like, I got a scene. Stay just like that. All I need you to do is go wipe it off for a minute and come on back because this is the most beautiful picture right now that I see today. Go in the bathroom, come, and I'm gonna just have some fun with it. Like, why can't we play with it? It doesn't marginalize either version, but I like them both.
Yeah, but
like it's an onion. It's many layers.
Well, we were talking about why am I seeking best friends or feel goods or validation is because as women we want to be our authentic self. I felt like I was that because, baby, let me tell you, before he even was start talking about let's be together, true story. I think for a long time he said he had that picture. Man, I took all the weave out my hair, wiped my face, took my nails off, eyelash, everything. I said, listen, this is me.
The majority
this is what I look like. The other girl was trying to get you. This is what I look like every day. So I need you to understand this is the everyday version. Because like you said, when you dating, you show up looking your best.
Man, give me the best too, throughout. Like, give me different versions. Miles Monroe's wife was so dope. She woke up an hour before time and made sure that she was together before the man of God woke up. He said it. It's documented. I was like, that's a little overboard, but I stand in my truth, boo. No, I believe a woman should not think of special occasions to look her best.
No, I'm not saying, see, you taking authentic and look your best and put them in two different categories. My authentic self can be me looking amazing. It's like when I shaved my head for my daughter, people was like, oh my God,
which
I love you.
Beautiful, by the way.
Right.
I was like, why didn't you wear your bald head?
Exactly.
I thought you should get a tattoo in it. Anyway, you know I'm kind of hood with it. I was like, oh, she put that little cross right there.
With a bald head? Listen.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying that my authentic self can still be my beautiful self. I'm not saying with a bonnet that stank and, you know, the pajamas that don't match. I'm not her. I can agree. I get in trouble all the time. I say a lot of stuff people get mad at. I don't think women should sleep in bonnets. I've never slept in a bonnet in my marriage. Now, I beg to differ. He can't tell you a time unless we really had to go somewhere. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, I can't mess up my hair, but I'm not a bonnet sleeping girl. How you get them is how you keep them. I'm not a, you know, throw on the flannels, the zip-ups and all of that. Because again, you know, you was sexy when they came into this thing. And I think, I think, I think a lot of women forget that part. So I'm agreeing with you that I believe in 15 over, 15 under. I done got ate up about this a billion times, 15 over, under. From the time we meet, you can gain 15 pounds, or you can lose 15 pounds, but that's it. Because
never heard of that.
part of my attraction to you is physical.
That's for me too?
It's me in both ways.
Okay.
Both ways.
You're going to keep that temple together.
If I met Willie this way, and Willie decide he going through something, and you decide.
But that's my authentic self.
No. Let me finish. That's what you can control. That's what you can control.
Should love me.
Let me tell you, we get in arguments. They be like, oh, so if somebody got into a car accident, no, that was something that you couldn't control, right? I feel like the physical parts as a couple, we have to agree on, just like women yell at me all the time. I don't feel like I should be able to change my hair color if this is what you find me attractive as. So if you met me this way and you like me as a sandy ash blonde.
Is that what it's called?
Whatever.
I like you as a sandy ash blonde.
Right?
Sandy ash blonde? I love it.
Listen, so if I decide to wake up one day and I say, I want my hair black, I argue with women. They be like, it's my head. It's what I want to do. I could dye my hair black. No, I'm in a relationship. We in this together. You are attracted to me partially by what you saw. So if that's
But you said you're going to take your wig off soon as you come in and change your stuff, and you got mad at me because I'm like, I want to spend time.
I shaved my head and I had braids. Okay, let's take the wigs away. My natural hair.
I love all parts of you. It's just some parts that I think.
Again, 15 over under. There's some rules that we need to stay inside of the physical so we can stay attracted to each other. Period, point blank. Don't go shaving your beard and I fell in love with you with a beard. Call it superficial. Call it what you want to.
Oh, no, I'm going to keep that.
But do you get what I'm saying?
It's my authentic self. It needs its own Instagram. Close up, please. It needs an Instagram. It's adorable.
Do you get what I'm saying about the physical stuff?
I got to ask you this, though, because so many people on Instagram was asking, and I love you, so I wouldn't dare not ask. I dare not ask anything that would be offensive to you.
What?
But a lot of people ask, you go to Africa a whole lot.
Oh, my God.
You've been allegedly trafficking little women. You are a madam. You have done a whole lot. How are you over here back and forth? And I don't know if you heard any of this stuff, but when I said Shenita's going to be over here, some of my Patreon members were like, what's going on in Africa? She spent a whole lot of time over there. So what we doing in Africa, is it a man over there you seeing? Is it some underground ring going on? Like, what's going on in Africa?
I think people need to use common sense, right? And that part has hurt my feelings, but I think that part is new. If you go back, I've been doing this since 2006.
Oh, so you've been going to Africa since 2006?
Before it was popular. Before everybody wanted a Nigerian boyfriend, okay?
Do you have a Nigerian boyfriend?
I don't have a Nigerian boyfriend.
You kind of smirk, though. You got a Nigerian best friend?
I don't have a Nigerian boyfriend. I don't have a Nigerian... Osa says he's my best friend. I have a Nigerian best friend.
She said his name too, child.
No, because he's like my best friend. I didn't date him. We cool. He'd be like, hey, best friend. I say, hey, best friend. It's not like that. Is
somebody helping with the bills?
No, I'm not that person. What do you mean by helping with the bills?
Are they creating new opportunities for you to make more money than you've ever made to bring back to the States?
That's debatable.
In return for dates and love.
Never. The coolest thing about who I am, and most people that know me, I can't be bought. There's no price tag for me.
Amen.
It's no price tag for me.
Yeah.
There's no private jet for me. There's nothing that you can show me, that you could do for me that will allow me to sell my soul to you. I'm going to say that out loud. So I can't be bought. There's not enough money on this earth for you to buy me. So that's first. Would I put other people in position to be bought? If you look at my track record, I very rarely travel to Africa with people. My best friend, my best friend is the only person who really goes with me. The last couple times I've taken a few people. I just think that when people don't know something, they make it up. They don't know I gave away over $3 million of my own money. Philanthropist means I gave my money, not asked you for yours.
I know that to be true.
Back in the day, I feel like I was one of the first in our age bracket to call myself a philanthropist. Now everybody like, I'm a philanthropist. First question I say is, how much money have you given of your money? Not the money you went to go raise, not the money that you wrote a grant for, not the money. How much have you given? Because I put my whole house in an uproar about the money that I've given. I cashed in my kids' 529s. They don't have a college fund. When I decided, I want to go be baby Oprah and build a school in Africa, where I'm going to get the money from? Let me go cash in my kids' 529s. I don't have no college funds. They're going to be mad. I'm like, you know what? If God provided, he'll provide it again. That's where I took the first money from. Nobody came and gave me some great big lump sum to start my foundation. And every single time, every athlete, entertainer, or famous person has failed me along the way, it's either been my money or the average American who's working a 9 to 5 that sees what I'm doing, that says, you know what? I'm going to give you $5 a month or $10 a month or $30 a month because I see you doing the work. So it's been far and few. There has been some time. Shout out to the people. I don't think there's nobody outside of people on my board that have ever given me like over $5,000 for my foundation. Nobody. Mm-hmm. I don't care what celebrity is, how many times they showed up. That's not being disrespectful. I just need people to know. Philanthropy means that I overwork sometimes to make sure that I'm taking care of all my projects. The first time I made $1 million in home-based business network marketing, the first $500,000 I gave away, and they watched me give it away. Like they literally was like, we watched you give away. Like the money wasn't even going into my account. It was going into the account of my foundation, of my non-for-profit. And the more money I made, it was like the more kids I can feed. And the more money I made, I could build another orphanage. And the more money I made, the more school fees we could pay. To the point where that's where all that money went, and it was priority. And I remember when I got that award for making $500,000, they were snatching the mic like, but we know she gave it away, so you're going to have to do it again. And it was like a running joke. So it hurts bad. Like when people say that, like, oh, somebody is funding my life or taking. Have I been blessed a couple times? Yeah. It's people that look at me and be like, yo, I've seen things that you've done. I've seen how hard you work. Let me make your path easier. But it's not an exchange for sex or goods. It's an exchange of, I see you're a good person. How can I help you? Mm-hmm. And I think, and it's not just Africa. I think it's bad for women. Why, if you're a good looking woman, dress nice, look nice, smell good, you successful, that whatever industry you in, you had to sleep your way to get to where you are. It could be a rapper, it could be an entertainer, it could be an actor. It's everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's just that mine is in Africa. And I really don't like it because people really be trafficking people in real life. So I'm like, don't put that on my name.
Don't put that jacket
on me. Don't put that on me. Like, I don't want that one. And trust, know, and believe. If I was telling people, my best friend would be the first to go. If I was telling, I'm making sure everybody looked at. That's not what I'm doing. Right. So I challenge those people. Like, stop the rumors, man. I don't like that.
I appreciate you answering that. And I appreciate you handling that question with care. And I thank you for taking a deep dive. I thank you for sharing your divorce story. I thank you for sharing moments about your father. I thank you for staying 10 toes down to the version that you are. I thank you that you've allowed yourself to step outside of any box that this particular culture decided to put you in. I really want to thank you so much, literally, for saying, hey, you know, I'm a girl from Detroit and I pull my wig off and walk in and do what I have to do. And then lastly, I want to thank you for putting that scripture on your arm, because that's one of the most debatable scriptures as it pertains to what women will do, because they'll fight it like I really, really do appreciate you today, Shenita. It takes a lot of strength, courage, and a whole lot of bravery to stand in your truth. And I didn't even know, I know, you know, I ask questions because usually I've already talked to you, but I do know that you make a whole lot of money on the outside. And as it pertains to like she do stuff that's not telling your business. I won't go deep dive because you're my friend, but she'll do businesses that you might not want to do. You know, how many y'all in farming? You know, how many y'all in like different nutritional stuff? Like, she'll go build little arms and watch them grow because she's a relentless business. Like, you're blessed with that gift. Like, and don't let nobody in this world, whoever you get with, try to dim that beautiful entrepreneurial light. You're absolutely right. What you deserve is somebody who may not necessarily be the boss in the whole world.
I want to be the boss.
Yeah, but allow you to do certain things. And then, of course, like if he's a boss in his own right, you guys can serve each other and he can be attentive to the emotional needs that you need. I do want to just kind of wrap this thing in a bow as we're getting a little late in time. So family, here's the thing. We had a good conversation. A woman who kept it real 100, a woman who's been through a lot. You know, foundationally, I know many of you all got stuck in the chapter when you probably went to go visit your father and he wasn't exactly what you wanted him to be. I can just remember when I heard about my dad, who now I know is a pretty decent, amazing man. But I remember what I heard about my father, which I won't say again here because we've already been through that. But I remember that rumor that was about him, and I live with that. So I became a lot more aware of how I chose. I was a lot more aware of what was going on in my life. I was like, I never touch a woman. I never touch her like that. I won't be aggressive towards her. And the truth is, once I met him and talked through it, I realized that wasn't who he was. Maybe, just maybe, there's an opportunity during this Love You More season for you to make amends and build a bridge without an expectation of what the outcome is going to be. Because if you find out what the truth is, you can live with the truth. It's the question marks that's driving you crazy, because you don't know if he wants to receive you. You don't know if he's going to reject you. You don't know if he's going to receive you. You don't know if he's an addict. You don't know if he's prosperous. You don't know. Most of the times you do not know. It's because you haven't chosen curiosity. I was talking to my team this morning. We were in Proverbs 25:2. And of course, I'm going to be paraphrasing. It says that the Lord delights in concealing the revelation. Right? And he said, but it's our privilege, right, to go seek, literally, like, let's go after to seek and allow it to be revealed. Like, so when God is hiding something for you, many times you think in your head, like, oh, God must not want me to have it. But right there in Proverbs 25:2, it kind of talks about God having a privilege to really just hide it. And that's why the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God. So literally, when something is blocked from you, it's not for you to put your hands up. I appreciate Shenita saying, hey, Pops, although you my real Pops, I need to go meet my biological Pops because I'm seeking. And once I get the revelation, I can live with the revelation. The question marks will always drive you crazy. It will always make you work harder than you have to. So I'm challenging everybody under the sound of my voice right now. If you have question marks and you feel like God blocked it the first time, it may be a game that God is choosing to play because he loves you. If I hide a toy from my 4-year-old daughter and I say, I hid that toy, her first response is not going to be, my daddy is mad at me. She's going to say, Daddy, where is it? And she's going to scurry around the house because she know a good father would never hold something against her because he's mad at her. She knows that. Why don't you know that about our God? It's because we're so focused on men. We're so focused on women. We're so focused on what this world gives us that we can't posture our hearts the way God wants our hearts to be postured. But today, we seen a woman who found the truth, who lives her truth. And no matter what happens along the way, she can live with it because she was able to get the revelation from God, because she realized that God wasn't mad at her. He was mad about her. He wasn't pointing at her like this right here. He was pointing at her like this, come to me. And I think we've just seen the beginning for what CHANITA Foster is going to do in the earth. And I'm thankful that you got a chance to meet her for some the first time. And for others, you just got reacquainted. I appreciate you tuning in. Do me a favor, family. Make sure that you leave a comment. Leave a couple of them too, because I'm going to get on here and comment too. Subscribe to the channel. I got a Patreon community that I would love for you to be a part of. It's going to help us out a whole lot to do these different things that we want to do in the community. The next goal that we have with this particular show is to make sure we drill in on what we're talking about and the people that we're talking about. Leave in the comments for me if you like the way this sounds. The Love You More show is catered to people who have experienced misunderstandings, breakups, and divorce, and how they overcame and how they learned to love themselves more. Come on, somebody. Did that feel good right here? You shining on? If it's some changes, put it in the comments. I'll see you next week. Flat out. We did it. Did you like that one? Yes, Lord. You know I got to keep it real with you. But what I want you to do is I want to make sure that you share this, you comment, you click like, engage with us. Listen, everybody wants to be celebrated, not just tolerated. Don't just tolerate us, celebrate us by liking, sharing, and commenting. Can't do it without you. That's all you got to do. Just click it. Do that for me. See you next week. Flat out.
Love you more. Love